Now here to discuss the recent fight to get South Carolina federal funding is WTOP's Sabina Longo. Sabina, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. Thanks for coming on today. Now this was a very interesting fight there was to get disaster relief to South Carolina. Ultimately, President Obama had to step in and have a disaster declaration put in place to get funding in there. But you have representatives like Lindsey Graham, the Republican candidate, one of the Republican candidates for president. There seem to be a million now. But stepping in and saying that we need disaster relief, federal funding, but he was the same one who just a few years ago was trying to deny Sandy relief to New York and New Jersey. Why do you think he just changed his stance based off the fact that it's his constituents, or do you think he actually had a moral change in his heart?
Yeah, I definitely think it's because South Carolina is his state, so I think that has a lot to do with it. And, when you kind of look at it, I wonder if it's because New Jersey is a blue state and his state's not so much. It's a red state, obviously. So, I wonder if it's because, Democrat and Republicans typically don't get along. So I wonder if that also has to do with some of it.
Now, is this something where more representatives are going to realize in the future, okay, when these disasters happen, they're natural occurrences, people need immediate help? Do you think now we're going to see more representatives look and go, okay, he now wants it too, so I think that just in case this happens to my district in the future, I'll vote yes? Or is it going to take a disaster in almost every single district to get everybody on board with this relief so the president doesn't have to step in?
Yeah, I think it's really upsetting that we have to vote for something like this. I mean, it takes 16 people to die before we get relief for those states. So it's really upsetting in that sort. I definitely think, though, seeing how Lindsey Graham reacted with New Jersey, it's going to definitely put a lot of people okay, maybe I'm not going to say no to another state because this could happen to my state too. So I think it's very interesting in that aspect. But yeah, we already pay as taxpayers into federal government, so why not use that money to states that need it? It's not like this state just had, a little hurt, like a little thunderstorm or something like that. It had a flood. It killed people. So how many people have to die before we get federal funding to that state?
Now, you hate making these situations more of a political thing and where you're talking about bipartisanship, but when it comes to the president having to very quickly, within 48 hours, and sign that declaration and have emergency relief sent to South Carolina, and how do you think that will change the way people look to him rather than some of the Republicans? People, you were saying before, South Carolina is a red state. How would they look at Obama now compared to the Republicans who are kind of trying to deny relief for their state?
I mean, I'm not a huge fan of a president using executive order, but in this sense, I completely understand because, how many times can you say no? Does it take more people to die? A life is more important than having everyone else come to an agreement. So I think everyone should come to an agreement. So I think it's just very interesting in that way.
Interesting you put that a life is more important. It seems that a lot of times people seem to forget that, but thank you for that insight, Sabina. And we're going to take a break here on the rundown.